An essential part of making English sound more English is pronouncing diphthongs correctly. So today I'm going to share with you my special tricks on how to make all 8 diphthong sounds. And I'm also going to teach you the difference in the sounds when native speakers use them in fast speech. That will be really useful. So let's get started. Let's start with a simple explanation of a diphthong. Diphthongs are vowels, where 2 vowel sounds are combined into 1 syllable. The sound is made by smoothly gliding from one vowel sound to another, without any pause or break. Now, this is important. Although there are 2 sounds, the diphthong is perceived as one sound, and the first sound is slightly longer than the second. There are 8 diphthongs as shown on this phonemic chart. And we are going to start with the diphthongs ear, oor, and air. So what do these diphthongs have in common? The answer is that they all glide towards the schwa sound. Watch my mouth. Ear, oor, air. That schwa sound at the end is so important, as it is the one sound that really makes your English pronunciation sound English. Did you notice what happened to my mouth at the end of each one? Watch again. Ear, oor, air. Well, because they all finished on the schwa sound, my mouth and jaw relaxed at the end and returned to a central position. My tongue just rested in the centre of my mouth. Let's now practice each of these diphthongs, starting with ear. The first sound is the short vowel sound I, with the tongue high and the lips slightly spread. I. You say it. I. Now relax your mouth and tongue and just say Now put them together so they make just one syllable, like this. Ear. Not but ear. Notice how I'm putting slightly more emphasis and length on the first I sound. Ear. Ear. Not ear. Now you try. Ear. That sound is the word for this. Ear. Now to help you make the sound right, we'll say the following word pairs. The first word of each pair has the vowel sound I, followed by a word with the diphthong ear. Say with me each pair, noticing the change of movement of your lips and tongue. Fit, fear. Yin, year. Bid, beard. Got that? Now listen again. I'm going to say them quickly, more like you would hear them in everyday conversation. Fit, fear, yin, year, bid, beard. It's hard to hear the difference, isn't it? To say the diphthong sound correctly, the trick is to always say the schwa sound at the end of the diphthong. Ear. This way you will keep the familiar sound of ear no matter how fast you speak. Now let's move on to oor, as in pure. Let's start with the short vowel sound oo. Notice how my mouth is rounded, like I'm blowing a kiss. And my tongue, which you can't see, is high with a hump towards the back of my mouth. Ooh. Ooh. Now you try. Ooh. That's right. Now let's glide quickly from ooh to to make it one syllable. But remember, for the mouth opens a little more and the tongue is lower and flatter. Now all together. Ooh. Ooh. Well done. Did you notice my lips changing shape from round to neutral? Watch again. Ooh. Ooh. The first sound ooh is slightly longer and stronger than Now practice saying these word pairs. First with just the vowel sound ooh and then with the diphthong ooh. When saying each pair, notice the change of movement in your lips and tongue. Put, pure, could, cure. You may hear a lot of people smoothing this diphthong, especially in fast speech like this. Pure, cure. It's the schwa sound at the end that gives it its distinctive sound because the mouth and tongue will always come back to neutral, no matter how fast you say it. Okay, let's move on to air, as in the word hair. Starting with the short vowel sound e. The mouth is slightly open and the lips are smiling a little. Say e. Good. Now say Now I want you to glide quickly from e to with more emphasis and slightly more length on the first sound e, like this. Air. Air. The sound is the same as the word air. Now say hair. Try these pairs and listen and practice the difference between e and air. Head, hair, red, rare, dead, dare, shed, share. Great! Now listen to this sentence spoken like many native English speakers. This meets rare. I must do my hair. Like and share. With this particular diphthong, when it's said quickly, the mouth does not close to a neutral position for the schwa sound. Instead, the e sound is pronounced as a slightly longer sound like this. Air. And the mouth stays slightly more open. Watch. Rare. Share. Prayer. Now let's look at the three closing diphthongs. A, oi, and I. For each of these diphthongs, the glide starts in 3 different places in the mouth, but all finish on the vowel sound I. So let's begin with A, as in the word main. For this one, we glide from E to I. So let's just practice the sounds separately first. Begin with your tongue mid-front for E. E. Now say the second part. I. I. With your tongue high and your jaw closed or slightly closed. I. Now join them smoothly like this. A. A. Did you notice my jaw closing at the end of the sound? Now watch again and repeat. A. A. Now say the word main. Excellent. Now, if you're ready, let's compare the word men with main. Men has the monophthong e, and as you now know, main has the diphthong a. Both these words have only one syllable, regardless of the glide in the diphthong. So what's the difference? Now, as you know, in diphthongs, the first sound is slightly longer than the second sound and has more emphasis, like this. A. A. Copy me and say main. Main. And now say men. Men. Can you hear the difference? This is what happens when you shorten the diphthong to e instead of saying a. It's a very common mistake and can be very confusing. When the word main is said quickly by a native speaker, it does become shorter, but it still maintains its familiar sound by closing the jaw at the end for the I sound. Listen to me and compare when the sound is said slowly and quickly. Main and main. Listen to this. The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain. Now listen to this. The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain. That was a bit quicker, wasn't it? So I didn't open my mouth so much. Although I'm saying it quickly, I am still maintaining the closure of my mouth for I at the end of the sound. Not this. The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain. Practice these pairs. Det, date, wet, wait, pepper, paper. Okay, so now we'll look at the diphthong oi, as in the word boy. First, we'll start by saying these sounds separately. Watch and repeat. Begin with your tongue mid-back for or. Now I with your tongue high and your jaw more closed. I. Good. Now let's join them together smoothly, but make sure that or is a little shorter, but still stronger, like this. Or. Watch and repeat. Oi. 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 Now say boy. Did you notice what happened to your tongue and lips? Watch and copy me again. Oi. 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 My lips went from rounded to neutral. And my tongue moved forward and upward at the same time as my jaw closed. Boy. Boy. Listen and practice the difference between these word pairs out loud. Bore. Boy. Jaw. Joy. Tall. Toy. More. Moist. Happy with that? Good. Now listen to the sound in fast speech. The boy was full of joy when he found his toy. Although it's said quickly like this, boy, joy, toy, the diphthong sound is still maintained by closing the jaw at the end of the sound. Now, the third diphthong is I, as in I. Let's say the sounds separately first. This sound does not exist as a phoneme on its own. It only exists as part of a diphthong. Now, as part of a diphthong, it sounds more like ah. So now say ah with the tongue low, centre, and the jaw open. Ah. Ah. Now say the second part. I, with your tongue high and your jaw closed, or slightly closed. I. I. Now join them smoothly like this. Watch and repeat. I. I. This sound represents this diphthong. I. Now let's practice some word pairs. Sun, sign, done, dine, fun, fine, luck, like. Now remember, when this sound is said quickly in connected speech, it becomes slightly shorter, but the overall sound still remains the same because the speaker maintains the closing diphthong I. It's less obvious, but because the jaw closes at the end, the sound is still familiar. Listen. Die, like, fine, dine. I like fine dining. Now, moving on to the last two diphthongs on the phonemic chart, O and ow. The O diphthong. The O diphthong is created by smoothly transitioning from the schwa sound, which is a short, unstressed sound like the in sofa, to the U sound, which is similar to the U in book. Now, this diphthong is commonly found in words like go, no, and slow. To produce O, as in the word no, say the sound mouth and jaw slightly open, tongue relaxed, and then glide away to U, with the lips becoming slightly rounded, with the tongue raised at the back like a hump. Like this. O. O. Now copy me. Oh, no, slow. If you get it wrong, it sounds like this. Oh, no, slaw. Can you hear? I'm not making the first sound. Here's an extremely important piece of information. When some native speakers use the O diphthong, especially in fast speech, you will often hear it spoken like this. O. Listen to this. Can I borrow your car? No. Please? No, you can't. It's more relaxed because the mouth is less open. In fact, did you notice the word borrow? On its own, you would say borrow, with the O sound at the end. But when the word is spoken in connected speech, followed by a consonant, you will often hear it pronounced as borrow. Listen again. Can I borrow your car? It's all in the listening. Now for the ow diphthong. This is formed by gliding from the first sound, which sounds like ah, as in cut, to the sound, as in book. You can hear this diphthong in words like now, cow. How. Now, this is my tip. If you were previously taught to start this diphthong with the a sound, as in cat, it can sound too exaggerated like this. Ow. To pronounce ow, begin with your mouth open and the tongue low for the first sound and say the sound ah. Then smoothly transition to the u sound by rounding your lips and lifting the back of your tongue to a hump at the back. Ow. Now say the word now. It's important to exaggerate this sound to begin with so that you can relax it later in faster speech when you're more experienced. It also helps you to recognize the sound when you hear it spoken by native speakers. In fast speech, the ow diphthong is often a quicker transition between the two vowel sounds. Despite the faster pace, the sound still starts with the mouth open and the tongue low, and smoothly moves to the sound with rounded lips and a raised tongue. But the mouth and jaw are more closed, so the ow sound is like this. Ow. Compare the two sounds with an open mouth, ow, with a less open mouth, ow. The reason we do this is simple. You can speak more quickly when the mouth is less open. But don't fall into the trap of doing this before you've mastered the correct sound. Remember, it's far more important to be understood than to speak quickly. If you are a slow speaker, this is simply to help you to recognize the sound when you hear it spoken quickly. Listen to this. First, with the sound more exaggerated. How now, brown cow? Now by a native speaker, spoken more quickly. How now, brown cow? Simple tip. When most people speak quickly, they don't open their mouths so much. Now, with the following words, I want you to listen and practice the difference in o and ow. Now, no. Loud, load. Found, phoned. Row, row. Doubt, don't. When you practice all these sounds, it's really helpful to do it using a hand mirror. Just watch the movements in your mouth as you do it. So now you know all about diphthongs. Do you know how to pronounce triphthongs? If not, head over to my video here. Love and peace.